a variety of other options that, or people that are out there that could be really good, hardworking. They just don't have that college degree, but they've taken the time to get some certifications in education that would enable them to act in this capacity. And really, it just boils down to what applicants do we get, and what's the judgment call when we do the interviews and check the references, and that's kind of what we have. I think that, you could take out the or, but then that might discourage some folks from applying that may be qualified to do the job very well. But yeah, obviously it's a preference to have the educational experience that's standard, but sometimes you have to go a little outside the box. Not always a preference. But
Huxley, sorry. Okay, it's okay. Calm down. Did you have another question, Commissioner Huxley?
I did. I'm just going to get my
I know. I caught it
after that. On the work environment, clearly, and this would go to also the union or non-union, because you're talking about, could be weekends, could be this, could be pretty much anything, and that would be the case in code enforcement in some of those. And in some of those issues, and I'm going to address, certainly you would have men or women apply, but I think there should be really concern. I would have concern putting a woman, okay, and this is no disrespect or anything, but I wouldn't have my wife go out and as a woman versus me go out into some of these potential environments that you would have for some certain code enforcement. For example, some of these, you could take the one on Hamilton Lane at, go over there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't want somebody doing that alone, period. But has any thought been given to that?
Well, actually, if I could.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Anyone who wants to apply for this position and they see what's in the job description, that should be their expectation, that that's what they may have to deal with. I think it's also important too to note that the position is not this is not a Lone Ranger. This is somebody that would work under my direction or for me, and I certainly would not authorize anybody to go out. If I felt like we needed a deputy or we needed some help, I'd be on the phone saying we need some help.
Yeah, male or female shouldn't.
Well, no, and I'm not taking that, but I'm just saying this is not your normal job when you get into this any more than law enforcement is.
Well, code enforcement's not for the faint of heart. That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
we need
that's
somebody
exactly
that
right.
knows how
That's
to stay the
exactly
course
right.
and tough, and I got to believe that when we go through a vetting process with the applications and references, et cetera, that we're going to find out, we're going to make the right decision for the right candidate. But that's really a good point. This is not a cakewalk. So.
Commissioner Boyce?
Well, excuse me, go ahead.
One more. Now, if we approve this also includes the exhibit, so that I would have some questions also on the financial exhibits before we bring this to.
I think you actually have an order approving the position, and then you need to take a separate consideration and a vote on approving a resolution to do the budget adjustments.
Correct.
If that's what you're referring to, you will need to have two.
But do we want to have discussion to flow into?
Looks like we have to have two different motions.
Dollars, or take one and approve one and then go to the next, or not?
You're going to be in a tough spot if you. Well, I mean, you could approve the first. We could create a position, then you could decide how to fund it.
Yeah.
So, but they definitely go hand in hand. You're going to have to do them both. And it was presented, I think, in a single item, so the anticipation. But when all the discussion is over, you'll need one motion on the. Thank you. Very
but
good,
just
Mr.
for
Chair.
discussion,
Sure,
for clarification, I'd like before we, what would be my preference before we approve.
Yeah, we better know about the money.
Ask questions about the money and the appropriations, and because we're dealing in some cases with restricted funds, and communication back and forth with Curry Community Health during the last budget process, and how to be extremely cognizant of the funds and what may be used for what and what may not be used for what. And I know we've talked even on the last budget process on that. So,
Well, it sounds like we're looking at two documents here. So the job description would not then be a part of the resolution that was in your packet. You need to have something else for that. Is that right, Council?
No, you actually have both items in there. You've got a resolution to modify the budget. You got a supplemental budget resolution with exhibits on that, so that's in there. It was just presented together, I think, under one, perhaps AGRS or something, and so.
That's correct.
Yes.
But it is two separate things, and you know, they are independent of one another. We could adopt job descriptions all day long, and you know, without any funding mechanism for them. So they're independent, but they sure do go together in this case.
I guess I'd have to say, what difference is it going to make on the budget this year? Because that's what we
what's
need.
presented in the resolution.
Yeah,
And I know
that's the only
Louise is
thing we
here.
need to worry about is this year, because it'll have to be budgeted for next year, the entire
Right.
position. And I think Commissioner Boyce, you had.
Thank you,
comment.
Madam Chair. The concerns I had for safety for that person, I think you handled very well. My son's OSP and the training that they all get, I wouldn't have any apprehension other than just the norm, which I think you've already identified there, that you're going to be careful where you send them. It is a sign of the times, though, that the risk
Certainly.
level seems to be going up a little bit, and if anybody's out there listening, the cheaters that don't have the building permits and your neighbors do, you know, now's your chance to come in and straighten things out before we get this person in place. So yes, I think you handled that well, and I feel better about any concerns I had for the safety of that person. But we all have to be absolutely on guard for that.
Well, I appreciate Commissioner Huxley bringing it up, because it is. I mean, this is not simple. This is not anything like greeting people at the public counter or sitting at these meetings and standing here and talking to you. This is real time.
You might remember the Josephine County Code Enforcement Officer, the primary one, is a woman, and she is pretty much fearless and has a reputation to reflect the courage she has, and so that
She
helps
available?
my concern as well.
Does she have some planning background? Is she available?
Okay, any other comments?